I don't even use the term Christian anymore. I don't like the term Christian. I use the term biblical.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Because what happens is
Yes.
Christians keep making God in their image. Well, here's what I believe. I'm a Christian. That's what God believes. No, no, no.
No.
God's got a Bible, and that tells you what he believes. And so we call it ABCs, authentically biblical Christians, authentically biblical churches, authentically biblical colleges. Right now, 50% of Christian kids that go to Christian colleges will renounce their faith while at college. Tell me that's a Christian college if you're driving people away from Christian faith. No, it's not a biblical college. So we do everything in the name of Christianity, and I don't even like the term anymore. And as I pointed out, 72% of pastors said we don't believe the Bible. How can you be a Christian and not believe the Bible who tells you how to become a Christian? So now, but from a historical standpoint, this kind of polarization that's happening now is always indicative of a revival. And I think I can statistically prove we're in a revival right now, but here's the deal. Revivals always historically span decades. The First Great Awakening went from 1730 to 1770. That's 40 years. We think a revival, the Spirit of God's going to come in and turn the nation over, and Monday morning at 8 o'clock, we're all going to be fine. It doesn't happen. It's decades of hard work.
Yeah.
The Second Great Awakening was 1801 to 1878. It was 77 years long. And here's the deal. In revivals, it is always the church leaders who are the most outspoken advocates of what God's got going on. If you take George Whitefield in the First Great Awakening, one of the reasons he preached outside was none of the pastors would let him preach inside their churches. That's the only place he could go. The pastors actually told their parishioners to go stand in the trees over George Whitefield and pee on him and defecate on him. That's what
My
the pastors were
goodness.
telling their people to do. Usually about 3/4 of the way through a revival is when the church says, oh, we think God's doing something. Let's be the leaders. And so the church will take credit for the revival, but they're usually the last ones to come on board. And that's what I see with a whole lot of our spiritual leaders right now. They're still in that resisting thing. Their people are going around them, which is, again, why we focus on what individuals can do. It's not up to church leaders. I would love to see church leaders be what God wants them to be. That's why we have the 6th section of the book. But historically, I think we're in a really good situation. As polarized as it is, this is part of what helps, as Jesus said, separate the wheat from the tares.
Yeah.
We're starting to see who the tares are, which makes it really easier to know what wheat looks like. And we talked earlier in the Kavanaugh hearings.
Yes.
With all that nonsense in Kavanaugh hearings, the nation has broken very much in a direction away from what they were trying to accomplish. And so we're looking at picking up several Senate seats. We're looking at keeping the House.
Praise
The approval ratings for Trump are the highest they've been since he's been elected. That Kavanaugh stuff was part of separating the wheat from the tares. It's not an easy process. It's not a pleasant process. Revivals never are. They're very messy. But the end result ends up being good.